Good evening. We begin with a scathing report from the province's Auditor General calling out the Skills Development Fund.
The AG says roughly $750 million in taxpayer money was given out against the advice of government staffers without proper checks and balances. CTV's John Woodward joins us live from Queen's Park with more details. John.
Nathan, we've already reported on questions about millions in Skills Development Fund grants. The Auditor General today added a few zeros and also said that lobbyists played a huge role in who got what.
Not fair, transparent, or accountable.
That's the assessment of the province's Auditor General, Shelley Spence, after looking into the multi-billion-dollar Skills Development Fund, a fund trumpeted by the Ford government in many press conferences about training workers, though Spence found many of those programs were given funding despite the assessments of nonpartisan staff.
54% of all approved applications, representing $742 million in funding, were rated poor, low, or medium against the stated program objectives and criteria.
One low-ranking applicant given $4 million even though it had no experience managing government money. One approved project was ranked at just 41%. It was just one person training themselves. $126 million was given to applicants with lobbyists, including one we first told you about, former Premier's office staffer Amin Massoudi, who shepherded an application for at least $11 million to train people working in restaurants.
If you scored high in your application to this program, you didn't get the money. But if you scored low and you had a lobbyist, then you get the money. To me, that is textbook preferential treatment, or in other words, this looks like corruption.
Opposition leader Merritt Stiles calling for an integrity commissioner investigation, as other party leaders said the fund had
turned into a slush fund
that smells and feels like the Greenbelt. It's the usual suspects.
Indeed, CTV News reported Massoudi went for a massage with a Greenbelt developer before the $8.5 billion land swap was rolled back. Massoudi has told CTV News everything in his application was above board. Ontario's Labour Minister appearing virtually at an afternoon press conference.
Did this government really spend hundreds of millions of dollars on low-ranked projects for connected people?
Look, I believe in the power of our Skills Development Fund to change lives. And we know with a rapidly changing environment where we need to train workers to meet the disruptive needs of the workforce, that rapid training initiatives work.
A line opposition politicians didn't buy.
The Labour minister said in that press conference that he stands by the decision to hand out certain grants to people, but has agreed to the Auditor General's recommendations of improving some of the checks and balances on the fund. The opposition believes that this is just the beginning in the Skills Development Fund. Reporting live from Queen's Park, I'm John Woodward. Nathan, back to you.
Thank you, John. And those findings were one of 4 special reports released by the Auditor General, and there were other notable concerns.
CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris has a breakdown.
The Canada-wide Early Learning and Childcare program came with the promise to be a lifeline for scores of Ontario parents. But the Auditor General finds the province is off target in creating new daycare spaces, the percentage of qualified staff, and fees.
The $10 a day is achievable, but the next day it may be a problem.
Shelley Spence says the program is about $2 billion short. The funding agreement between Ontario and Ottawa expires at the end of March. The Minister of Education says the feds need to pony up more, but talks haven't really started.
I don't want to make it seem like they're being difficult. They've just had a lot of other things that they've been focused on, but I think parents are also focused on a lot of things and they want some certainty.
While there are more daycare spaces than there were 5 years ago, lower income families aren't getting into them.
There were 31% fewer spaces because of the increasing demand for those lower income families that received this fee subsidy.
In 2023, some 80,000 funded spots sat empty, almost half of the operators in the program running below capacity.
There is a website in the works to centralize wait lists and help families find childcare spaces, but it won't be ready until 2029. I asked the minister responsible if he's okay with that timeline.
I'm not comfortable with that. We've got to move very quickly, and I will be tasking the department to move quicker.
The auditor finds the Home Construction Regulation Authority isn't doing thorough checks and licensing the bodies that build and sell new homes, only checking a credit score, not performance records, or requiring the people overseeing builds to have updated qualifications.
So it's really doing a lot more checking of that application and not just fast tracking it.
The government's reluctant to call for ongoing education until it knows what it will mean for the pace of home building. The auditor sees no way Ontario will come close to meeting its greenhouse gas emission reduction targets for 2030. The government has said as much, but Spence finds the gap is likely going to be much bigger than predicted.
The Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks forecasts likely overestimated the reductions expected from both federal and provincial initiatives across multiple sectors.
Like the elimination of the carbon tax, Spence cautions Ontario didn't factor in effects of things like reducing tolls or potential delays in building out nuclear power. The minister insists they're still trying to get close to the 2030 target, but
we've got to do that in a balanced way. We've got to be agile and nimble in doing that. We've got to protect Ontario, protect jobs, protect families.
But the how is a little hazy. At Queen's Park, Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
Still to come, Ottawa has rejected a proposal from Marineland to send 30 of its beluga whales to China. We'll have more on the decision a little later in the newscast. But first, the Blue Jays hit the field for the first time since clinching the American League East Division title.
And fans were able to take in an intra-squad game at the Rogers Centre as the team prepares to open the American League Division Series Saturday. CTV's Sean Leathong has been following the team and joins us live now from Rogers Centre with more. Sean.
Well, Nathan and Michelle, the Blue Jays will have the longest break of their entire season as they wait for the American League Divisional Series to start. So they wanted to have these inter-squad games so they don't let any rust build up, and it gives fans a chance to celebrate this team. They came racing to their seats for a chance to see the Jays up close.
It feels a little bit surreal, but it feels great.
A bit of October baseball before the real thing. How's the hot dog? The Blue Jays are holding an inter-squad game at the Rogers Centre today while waiting to start the American League Divisional Series, inviting fans for a first-come, first-served seat at a reduced price. So how much did you pay for your tickets?
$10.
$10 for the best seats in the house. What's that like?
I feel like I'm getting away with something.
The game between Team Blue and Team White features a mixture of regular Blue Jays and farm team Buffalo Bisons, but the opportunity had a few thousand fans scrambling to get to the Rogers Centre.
It's electric. It's so exciting. So we really got into the Jays last year, which was a bit of a different feeling. I'm not sure if you knew. But it's been so exciting.
And just, the opportunity, $10 seats, you can't beat that. And especially all the hype around the Blue Jays. And getting a chance to sit on the 100 level for that price and be this close to the excitement and hopefully, get the Jays a little fired up for the postseason.
But as much as this inter-squad game is fun for the fans, the players say that it's something they need to stay sharp.
When you play every single day, you kind of get a little bit of baseball withdrawal, myself included, to where you can get a little stale. So hopefully we can replicate a little bit of energy.
The Jays await the winner of a best 2 out of 3 wildcard series between the Boston Red Sox and New York Yankees. So today is all about preparation.
I think it's leaning into any opportunity we have to prepare in a better way and optimize some of the rest.
And bringing in the fans is about helping the players feel close to a regular game atmosphere.
Players said, we want you there. They need us. They know that part of their success this year has been because of us screaming in the stands. So anything they need from me, I'm here.
So it wasn't a full game. They just played about 5 innings with Team White winning 4-2. Now, what they're waiting on is the American League Wildcard Series, and the Boston Red Sox currently have a 1-0 lead on the New York Yankees. Reporting live, I'm Sean Leathong. Nathan, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Sean. Striking Canada Post workers are holding a national day of action with events across the country, including here in Toronto.
Hundreds of postal workers rallied in the city while picket lines remain active outside local facilities. Our Beth McDonnell has been following the story. She joins us live with the latest. Beth.
Michelle, this rally today on Queen Street really fired up postal workers. Streetcars were brought to a standstill on Queen for close to an hour, and police arrived to manage the street. This was the situation as Canada Post works to make changes to the business. shutting down Queen Street East outside Environment Minister and Toronto Danforth MP Julie Dabrusin's office, Canada Post workers rallied.
Because we're not backing down. That's right.
Cup W, the union representing employees, has been without a contract for 2 years and says it's been waiting 37 days for a response to the latest offer. It's unhappy the federal government is allowing Canada Post to make changes to the business, arguing the move gives leverage to the company not to negotiate.
Hands off Canada Post!
Canada Post says it remains committed to negotiating and now has until mid-November to come up with a plan around post office modernization, mail delivery standards, and community mailbox conversions.
In Toronto, we do not want community mailboxes. We see the congestion already in our streets. We don't need another box there where there will be thefts. Seniors will be scared to be going to those boxes to get their parcels.
It's been a week since the government stepped in and workers went on strike. The action comes after a lengthy strike last fall, which affected the holiday season. Canada Post says it's lost $5 billion since 2018 and needs to become a viable company, with parcel volumes dropping due to all the uncertainty. Yet workers say they worry Canadians don't have the full story.
A lot of our work has been going to Purolator. It went to Purolator during the last strike. It's been continuously going to Purolator throughout and up until now. So I feel that the public needs the truth, needs to know the information, that we are not in fact losing money. Our money is being diverted.
We display this on the internet and people love it.
Down the street, Daniel Jewelers relies on Canada Post to ship merchandise around the world. Some sales have stalled.
I have to wait it out because sending it by FedEx is a little bit too costly, depending on what the cost of the item is. But Canada Post is really economical.
As Canada Post business continues to decline, letter carriers are trying to stay hopeful.
That we can all return to our jobs and we can all look at each other and give a high five to say that we put in that we did it.
The union says it's planning more rallies in the GTA to make sure postal workers' voices are heard. Canada Post has a 91% stake in Purolator. I asked Canada Post if Purolator was being helped at the expense of Canada Post. Canada Post says this is completely false and has no basis, in fact. Reporting live, I'm Beth McDonnell. Nathan, back to you.
Thank you, Beth. There's growing concern about the amount of e-scooters on city streets following 2 collisions involving children yesterday.
A 10-year-old and 12-year-old were injured in separate incidents, and Ontario law says they shouldn't be riding the scooters to begin with. CTV's Janice Golding reports.
The video is horrifying. It's a 5:45 p.m. at Parliament and Shooter, and a 10-year-old boy carrying groceries on an e-scooter can be seen slamming into the door of a parked vehicle as the driver begins exiting his car. That's the second accident yesterday alone involving e-scooters. Earlier in the day, a 12-year-old boy riding his e-scooter was struck near Kingston and Mason Roads in Scarborough.
They're unsafe. And in the age range that parents are buying them for their kids are just not ready to assess the risks properly.
These cases highlighting what Sick Kids has already documented. According to a report last summer, e-scooters account for 85% of battery-powered device injuries. 56% of e-scooter injuries at Sick Kids emerge involved children without helmets, and nearly half of e-scooter injuries involved kids aged 10 to 13.
These e-scooters, 35 kilometers an hour. For me to do 35 kilometers an hour on a bike, I'd have to be in the Tour de France.
E-scooter accidents shouldn't be happening at all, say officials in Toronto, given they're illegal for use on public property in the city, meaning e-scooters are banned for people of all ages on streets, bike lanes, and sidewalks. Still,
we have no authority to seize the scooter. And the penalty that we would issue an e-scooter would fall under the bylaw. And it's not a significant fine, and it doesn't carry a significant message, I don't believe.
While police work on public education, neither they nor the city have the authority to regulate what is sold, rented, or purchased, which is why the Ontario Safety League says we need regulatory change.
They're easy to throw them in the trunk of a cruiser and take them to an impound.
In the meantime, parents have a big role to play.
Parents should be the grown-up. It's not an approved vehicle, and don't buy it.
Both boys injured in yesterday's accidents were taken to hospital. Their injuries were non-life-threatening. Janice Golding, CTV News.
A cyclist has been injured after being struck by a vehicle in Cabbagetown. It happened shortly after 3:30 this afternoon near Parliament and Gerrard. Paramedics say the cyclist, who's in their 30s, was taken to a local trauma center in stable condition. The driver involved remained at the scene. The cause of the collision is still under investigation. Meanwhile, no injuries have been reported after 5 vehicles collided on the 403 in Mississauga. It happened in the westbound lanes west of Mavis. The CTV News chopper was over the scene where one vehicle ended up on top of another. The cause of this crash is also being investigated.
Today is the day. The minimum wage is now higher in Ontario and 4 other provinces. The increase is intended to support workers amid affordability issues, but some say it's not enough.
It's technically a raise for people at the lowest wage levels, but unfortunately, there's still no place, even after the increase, where you can work a full-time minimum wage job and still be able to make ends meet. If you look at how far your dollar goes, that raise doesn't look so good anymore.
Ontario's minimum wage is now set at $17.60 per hour, an increase of 40 cents. The increase of 2.4% is based on the Ontario Consumer Price Index and will boost the paychecks of about 800,000 workers. Ontario's minimum wage is the second highest in Canada. Also starting today, jurors in Ontario who are not paid by their employers for jury duty will now be compensated. They will be paid $120 a day for each day of jury duty. Under the previous pay structure, jurors weren't paid anything for the first 10 days of a trial. They were then paid $40 a day between day 11 and 49 and $100 from day 50 onwards.
The Premier met with the Governor of Michigan at Queen's Park today and spoke about U.S. tariffs on Canada.
There's a tremendous amount of opportunity in economic development, creating the environment for both Michigan and Ontario to thrive and grow and prosper. And that's what we talk about.
It's important for all of us as we think about all the global challenges that we are confronting. Strengthening this relationship, not undermining it, is one of my top priorities.
The governor has spoken out against President Trump's tariffs, saying Michigan feels the pain from them faster and harder than almost any other state.
Lots more news in a moment, but first, here's a live look at the city tonight, and welcome to October. Just a stunning day, more of that sunshine we've been experiencing. Definitely felt cooler, which isn't too bad. It is October overall, but here's the thing. We're going to warm up once again as we head towards the weekend. Let's bring in Lindsay Morrison with all the details. Lindsay.
Yeah, it turns out, Michelle, today's seasonal temperature, bit of a one-off. We are going to warm up as early as tomorrow, and my goodness, it's going to be feeling like July by the weekend. Right now, it is 16 degrees. That's nice and comfortable. It's typical of early fall and early October. We've had mainly sunny skies again today, and we're anticipating clear skies through the night tonight. Winds light in nature coming from the east and northeast. That contributed to it feeling a little bit cooler today compared to the last few days. 9 is our forecast low overnight. That is near normal. But look what's coming. An upper level ridge is going to bring some summertime heat to the lower Great Lakes. We'll show you just how warm it's expected to get, especially for Saturday and Sunday. That's coming up. But for now, Nathan, I'll send it over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. One person has died, 2 others were injured in a shooting in Laval, Quebec today. It happened at a Starbucks. Police say there is no longer a security risk, and people are being asked to avoid the area as officers continue to investigate. The 2 people who were wounded did not suffer life-threatening injuries. The province's public security minister says the shooting appears to be linked to organized crime. There have been no arrests.
There was a national ceremony in Ottawa today to honor residential school survivors.
These systems did not make who we are. These systems gave us the strength to walk forward in a good way amongst our relatives. And my message to all Canadians is walk with one another. Learn to love one another the way we were meant to. Learn to help one another, to support one another.
The survivors' flag was raised on Parliament Hill, where survivors gathered to share their stories today. About 150,000 Indigenous children were forced to attend church-run, government-funded schools in Canada between 1857 and 1996. Yesterday, Canadians paused to reflect and honor the children during the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation.
Still to come, scientist and wildlife activist Jane Goodall has died at the age of 91. We'll have more on her life and legacy a little later in the newscast. In the Middle East, Israel has ordered all remaining Palestinians to leave Gaza City, saying it was their last opportunity, and anyone who stays will be considered terrorists and terror supporters. About 400,000 people have fled the famine-stricken city since Israel launched a major offensive last month. But hundreds of thousands remain, many because they can't afford to leave or are too weak to make the journey to the south. Hamas has still not given its response to a U.S. peace proposal this week that's been accepted by Israel and is widely supported internationally.
An urgent search continues in the Philippines, a day after at least 69 people were killed in an earthquake. More than 200 others were injured. Sporadic rain and damaged bridges and roads have hampered the race to find survivors. But officials say there are still many reports of people who were pinned or hit by debris. The Philippine government is considering whether to seek help from other countries based on an ongoing rapid damage assessment. Schools and government offices were closed in cities and towns that were hit, while the safety of buildings is being checked.
The federal government has denied a request from Marineland to send 30 beluga whales to an aquarium in China.
The decision is opposed by the theme park, which says it has few options left to care for the whales. CTV's Heather Wright reports.
The last captive whales in Canada are behind these gates. Marineland, the zoo and amusement park near Niagara Falls, Ontario, had requested an export permit to send its 30 beluga whales to the Chimelong Ocean Kingdom in China, which today was denied by Ottawa as it would have kept the whales in captivity just on another continent.
It is not okay to keep them in captivity for entertainment purposes.
In a statement, Marineland said it was profoundly disappointed in the federal government's decision, saying it leaves them with no ability to pay for the whales' continued feeding and care. The park has not been open in more than a year and is currently up for sale. At least 20 whales have died here since 2019, and in 2021, the province said all marine mammals living here were in distress. One option for the Marineland belugas is to send them to a proposed sanctuary in Nova Scotia. But that sanctuary is not open and has yet to receive the lease and approvals necessary. Melissa Matlow with World Animal Protection is calling on politicians to do what they can to get it up and running.
I believe the sanctuary is ready to accept the whales within a year. I mean, it takes that amount of time to condition whales for transport anyway.
Today, Ontario Premier Doug Ford said the government will do what it can to find the whales a new home.
If we want these whales to survive, we have to move them somewhere.
The fisheries minister said today she is open to other options, but there aren't many easy ones. These whales cannot be released into the wild, and experts say some of them are likely not healthy enough to be moved. Heather Wright, CTV News, Niagara Falls, Ontario.
Coming up, benefiting from the buzz, the Jays' journey into the postseason poised to fuel the local economy. How businesses are hoping to cash in on the excitement.
And I'm Pat Foran. Coming up on Consumer Alert, many Canadians have accounts with Canada's big five banks, and some people switch between banks for various reasons. But did you know your bank can also quit on you? One man was shocked when he was unbanked. All of that story, that's just ahead.
Well, here we have Hurricane Imelda, and this is the island of Bermuda. So this Category 2 hurricane is going to move over the island later tonight and impact it through the day tomorrow. And again, it is still a Category 2 storm, so this could cause a little bit of damage. After that, it is going to become a post-tropical low and continue to make its way out to sea. We'll keep an eye on that. Plus, your weather story here at home will take you through the weekend forecast coming up. And stay with us. We've got another full night of great shows for you right here on CTV.
The majority of Canadians, almost 90%, deal with Canada's big five banks for loans, credit cards, and investments.
Customers can switch banks at any time, but banks can also close your accounts and tell you you're no longer wanted as a client. Here's Pat Foran and Consumer Alert. Pat.
Thanks, Nathan and Michelle. It doesn't happen very often, but a bank can unbank you and tell you to take your business somewhere else. They don't have to give a reason, although it's often because they're concerned about fraud, high-risk behavior, or they decide you're difficult to deal with.
There's no, reason for this. I don't do, I'm not part of any criminal network or doing any sort of fraud. I'm just an average guy trying to get through the day-to-day in this Canadian world.
Thomas Nassab of Alliston has been an RBC Bank customer for about 30 years. He has lines of credit, credit cards, and investments with RBC and oversees his parents' accounts with the bank as well. Recently, he was trying to move money in his investments when he says he encountered difficulties getting in-person service, so he complained.
I made complaints to a couple branch managers as well as a regional community manager. And within 7 days of those complaints, I was told that all of my accounts are being closed.
Nassab received a letter from RBC that said, "We are no longer in a position to continue our banking relationship with you." Nassab says he was only given 30 days to close his accounts and move his money out of the bank.
And to be just removed completely with zero explanation, it's very disappointing.
Nassab reached out to CTV News and appealed to RBC, hoping to have the decision overturned.
Love for this to be reversed. I would love for some sort of clarity of the reasons why.
When CTV News reached out to RBC, a spokesperson said a client or the bank may choose to end a banking relationship. RBC makes such a decision only after a thorough review of the circumstances. Decisions regarding client relationships are never made lightly. Banks may also close accounts if they suspect money laundering, fraud, policy violations, or abusive or disrespectful behavior. Nassab believes his accounts shouldn't be closed because he complained about customer service.
Customer service is getting so poor that even if you make reasonable, tempered complaints, they're ready to just make that move anyway to get rid of you.
And if a bank ends a relationship with you, they don't have to tell you why. They do have to give you enough time to move your money and investments. You can also file a complaint with the Ombudsman for banking services and investments. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
All right, another sunny, clear, bright day. Yes, it was a little bit cooler, but still, overall, things are looking really good to start the month.
Amazing. I mean, when you look ahead to this weekend, it looks like an August weekend in October.
Yeah.
Is this the new norm? My goodness.
Well, it is for this week, that's for sure. We were seasonal today, felt a little cool compared to the last several days, but don't get too used to that because temperatures are going to climb again. Starting tomorrow, we're going to be feeling some heat and humidity by Friday. And then some communities could be entering record territory for Saturday and for Sunday. Here's what it looked like early this morning as the sun was rising. Sunrise time was about 7:15 today. Beautiful looking sky. We enjoyed mainly sunny skies throughout the day today, but you may notice looking out your window right now that things are starting to get a little bit darker. Let me show you what our sunset time is for tonight, 6:59 p.m. So the sun now setting just before 7 o'clock. The days continue to get a little bit shorter. I think that sunny days like this make that pill a little bit easier to swallow because we were able to enjoy the sun so much. A reminder that we're going to turn our clocks back 1 hour, fall back the first weekend of November. So we've got a little bit of time before that, but you're really going to notice the darker evenings at that point. It is 16 degrees right now in Toronto. It's actually been warmer in northwestern Ontario today compared to the south, and it's been very warm in Manitoba as well. The provincial hotspot, Dryden, at 26.5 degrees. Our seasonal norm is about 17, so we were very close to that today. In fact, I believe we were bang on 17 degrees. Tonight's low is near normal as well, 9 for us. About 1 degree in Bancroft, 3 in Peterborough. Risk of frost along the Quebec border once again. And then tomorrow, so a couple of degrees warmer, 21 for the high, above seasonal once again. A sun cloud mix this time. We'll start off the morning with mainly sunny skies, and then an increase in cloud cover happens through the afternoon. Temperatures in the 20s for just about everyone. 16 temperatures expected in parts of eastern Ontario and central Ontario. It's been quite a ride. We're letting the good times roll here with lots of sunshine, high pressure locked in place. But as mentioned, you might notice a little more in the way of cloud cover for tomorrow. Not a completely cloudy day, but at times maybe mainly cloudy in some spots. Into Friday, though, we're going to see that cloud cover clear once again, a beautiful blue sky. And then Saturday, we welcome a little bit of cloud once more. Mix of sun and cloud kind of day, couple of spotty showers north of the GTA. Our next measurable rain, though, doesn't look like it's going to happen until next week. So we'll talk about that in a moment. There's Friday, 25 for the high, feeling like 28. This weekend, highs of 27 degrees, 10 degrees warmer than normal for Saturday and for Sunday, feeling into the 30s. And again, it is going to be dry. Here's a look at early next week. Chance of showers beginning Monday night and following us into Tuesday. For some, this will be a welcome change. This will be too for some. Temperatures back into the teens, maybe even mid-teens by about the middle part of next week, much closer to the type of temperature we expect in early October. That's the forecast for now. Michelle, over to you.
Thanks, Lindsay. Well, many local businesses are hoping to benefit from the buzz the Blue Jays are bringing to the city.
CTV's Rahim Ladani has more on how some are preparing to cash in on the hype.
As the Blue Jays gear up for their postseason run, everyone in the city has a plan for this weekend.
I'll be watching it at home.
See if some friends are ready to go to a bar.
I'm sure my friends will tell me about it, so I'll watch them every chance I get.
Matt works at a bar downtown and says Toronto's hospitality industry relies on big events like the Blue Jays to help their bottom line.
I work at Ruby Soho. We've been absolutely pumped for all the games, especially for the bar and restaurant scene, to get people out of their houses, off their couches, and into the bar scene and kind of with their friends. It definitely gives the city a little bit of hope.
However, restaurants and bars aren't the only ones benefiting from October baseball. According to figures from Destination Toronto, last February, the NHL All-Star Game generated $50 million. Then in November, Taylor Swift's Eras Tour concerts brought an economic impact of more than $280 million to the city.
While hotels and other businesses will see an immediate impact due to the influx of people in the downtown core, having the Jays in the postseason also serves as a marketing tool for the entire city.
It's when they get here and when they have those experiences on the ground, when they get to walk through some of our amazing neighborhoods, when they get to eat at one of our Michelin restaurants. They take them back, they talk about them, they share with their friends and family.
They'll likely also be recounting about the atmosphere and national pride brought on by the Blue Jays.
You can just feel the difference in the city. You know, everybody supports the Jays, everybody supports Toronto, and it's Canada's team.
Rahim Ladani, CTV News.
The Toronto Maple Leafs have been named the NHL's most valuable franchise for a fifth straight year. Sportico says the Leafs are worth $4.25 billion, which represents a 16% increase compared to last year. The company says the average value of an NHL franchise is roughly $2.1 billion. The New York Rangers are the second most valuable NHL team, followed by the Montreal Canadiens.
Meanwhile, single game tickets for the new PWHL season go on sale October 14. The Toronto Scepters begin the 2025-26 campaign in Minnesota on November 21st. Their first home game is November 29th when they host the Boston Fleet. The league's two new expansion teams will be at Coca-Cola Coliseum in March, Seattle on the 15th and Vancouver on the 29th.
Toronto will host 6 World Cup matches next year, and today, the Canadian Vice President of FIFA spoke about start times here and elsewhere as summer heat may be a factor.
Yeah, so let me address, obviously, the kickoff times, lesson learned on some of them, and, but it's, for those of you that don't come over to watch other games, it's always an issue in our region because, summers are hot in Canada and U.S., even in Canada, by the way, they're hot, not just the U.S., it's important to learn those things.
Tickets for the World Cup went on sale today after a lottery drew 4.5 million applicants. Successful buyers will be notified by mail.
Also tonight, she was world-renowned for her research, studying chimpanzees in the wild, reshaping our understanding while pushing for protections. The life and legacy of Jane Goodall, who has died at 91.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400. from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Scientist and wildlife activist Jane Goodall has died at the age of 91.
Goodall turned her love of primates into a lifelong quest to protect the environment. CTV's Andrew Johnson looks back on her life and legacy.
When a young British woman with a childhood love of primates but little scientific training traveled to Tanzania in 1960, she changed the way we look at chimpanzees.
When I got to Cambridge finally, they were totally horrified. I'd named the chimps instead of numbering them. I talked about them having personalities. I talked about them having minds and being able to have rational thoughts and emotions, happiness, sadness, fear. And all of these things were supposed to be attributes only of humans.
Jane Goodall also found the chimps, like humans, used tools. She incorporated their distinct personalities and family relationships into her work.
Being out in the wild, you know, back when I dreamed of it, there was nobody doing anything like that.
Goodall considered it her lifelong quest to protect the planet.
We've got a window of time, I believe, to start slowing down climate change, loss of biodiversity, to alleviate poverty, to bring to an end the terrible industrial farming, especially of animals, to try and persuade the very wealthy to be a little more considerate of the future.
Goodall married twice and had one son. In 2003, she was appointed a Dame of the British Empire, and she received the U.S. Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2025.
I want to be remembered for having helped people to understand the true nature of animals, that they do matter as individuals.
Well into old age, Goodall was on the road hundreds of days a year, speaking up for animals and the environment, trying to empower people to do their bit, as she called it, believing millions of people making small changes can make a huge difference. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Vancouver.
Award-winning singer-songwriter Alan Doyle can now add musical theater to his resume.
The former leader of the band Great Big Sea has brought his crowd-pleasing show, Telltale Harbor, to the Royal Alexandra Theatre after its successful run in PEI. CTV's Andrea Case reports.
Opening afternoon at the Royal Alexandra Theatre for the musical comedy Telltale Harbor was a thrill. For the cast for the show, which first premiered in Prince Edward Island in 2022. Co-writer Adam Brazier says this is a dream come true.
When Alan Doyle and I started to write this piece back in 2018, we were in Kitty Vidi, Newfoundland, and writing, and Alan said, "What's the home run?" I said, "The home run for me is having this show land on the Royal Alex as part of the Merver season." And so today, I feel like we hit it out of the park, and it's an amazing feeling.
3, 2, 1.
Telltale Harbor may not exist in reality, but many places have experienced its trials and tribulations. After the fish plant closes, the town must lure a doctor to secure a French fry factory in its place.
Yes, I've got a song for you.
Co-creator, music writer, and star Alan Doyle of Great Big Sea fame is excited to have the play come to Toronto.
I'm new to this musical theater racket, and I had no idea how much work it is to get it this far, you know, and like it's just an incredible amount of labor and passion that's required by everybody to make it happen, and we're here.
Maybe it's moonshine, maybe it's moonlight, maybe it's you.
After 2 successful runs in PEI, it is the little show which grew.
It's a very, very, very alive and moving, yet very collaborative and coordinated thing. Like, you know, you really, every step you take affects 20 other people. And like, so you have to be constantly aware to trust the play and to surrender to the night out.
Telltale Harbor is on stage at the Royal Alexandra Theatre until November 2nd. Andrea Case, CTV News.
Just ahead, unveiling an all-new community in Leslieville. Hundreds of mixed-income homes now a reality, built on city land with private partners. We pay a visit after the break.
54% of all approved applications, representing $742 million in funding, were rated poor, low, or medium against the stated program objectives and criteria.
Updating our top stories, the province's Auditor General has called out the province's Skills Development Fund in a scathing report. The AG says roughly $750 million in taxpayer money was given out against the advice of government staffers and without proper checks and balances.
They're unsafe. And in the age range that parents are buying them for their kids are just not ready.
Safety groups are issuing warnings about the rising number of e-scooters on city streets. It comes after 2 children aged 12 and 10 were injured in separate instances yesterday. The micro-mobility vehicles are technically illegal in Toronto.
It's electric. It's so exciting. So we really got into the Jays last year, which was a bit of a different feeling. I'm not sure if you knew, but it's been so exciting.
And the Blue Jays hit the field for the first time since winning the American League East title. The team played an intra-squad game as they prepare to open the American League Division Series on Saturday.
Remember to keep up to date day and night at ctvnewstoronto.ca and by downloading the CTV News app. And if you have a news tip, photos, or video of breaking news, let us know.
Washington confirmed it's taking a stake in another business, a Canadian one. BNN Bloomberg's Marella Fernandez has the details.
The U.S. is taking a 5% stake in a Canadian mining company. Lithium Americas is based in Vancouver, but it's developing a lithium mine in Nevada. Lithium is a critical mineral used to make batteries for electric vehicles. Washington has started to pick up a stake in companies that it sees as critical to boosting the economy. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is down 13 cents to 71.73. West Texas Intermediate crude down to 61.39. Western Canadian Select is down over $1 to 50.39, and the TSX hit another record close, up 84 points today to 31.07. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marella Fernandez.
The Business Report is brought to you by Canadian Western Bank, the bank built for business.
A new mixed-income community was officially opened in Leslieville today.
The development was a joint project between the city, Toronto Community Corporation, and private groups. CTV's John Musselman takes a tour.
This is gorgeous.
Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow and local councillor Paula Fletcher got a tour of the new units inside the city's newest community housing project. It is a mixed-income community. It includes 3 new buildings with 120 rent-geared-to-income units, 100 affordable rental units, and more than 360 condo units. It's located on property in Leslieville. That's near Queen Street East and Coxwell Avenue.
This is a model. We want to replicate it because from 2 small buildings to now 800 homes for families, for cooperatives, for artists, with playgrounds and with shops and mixed income.
There was an official ribbon-cutting ceremony today. Municipal, provincial, and federal politicians took part. The new buildings are a partnership between the city and private developers to create what they describe as stronger, more connected communities that deliver a mix of affordable and market homes.
This is a case where the city really leveraged its land, and together we created a really good outcome for all stakeholders. And this includes the hundreds of new residents and families who now call Queen and Ashbridge home. We've already welcomed our first residents, and feedback so far has been overwhelmingly positive.
The site was once home to 2 60-unit Toronto Community Housing rent-geared-to-income buildings. Many of the residents of the former buildings were relocated during construction, but have now returned to the new buildings. The city has a target of 65,000 rent-controlled and affordable homes by 2030. John Musselman, CTV News.
Just ahead, 4-legged employees with an endless lunch break. Goats put to work on the slopes, grazing away in the lead up to ski season. Hold on to your horns. We'll be right back.
Tonight, honoring the world-renowned environmentalist Jane Goodall.
I want to be remembered for having helped people to understand the true nature of animals.
The legacy she leaves here in Canada and a worldwide message of hope and action. Later on CTV National News.
A Vermont ski resort near the Canadian border is trying a novel way to get the slopes ready for winter.
Get this, they're using a barnyard staple to ensure a smooth surface for the snow. Goats have been eating their way up and down the mountain, getting rid of overgrown vegetation. They're expected to clear 10 hectares during a 5-week stint. That's only a fraction of the area that needs to be done. But officials say the goal is to gradually reduce the reliance on gas-powered mechanical mowers. Look at that.
Win-win. They seem thrilled about it.
And they have no idea that they're doing us a favor.
I know. Ski season, oh my goodness. It's October. It's, you know, not a few months off, but it feels like summer, even though now we're in a brand new month.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know, often in October we see the first fine flurries of the season. Not this week, not next week. We're still very much stuck in a previous season. So here's what it's going to feel like tomorrow morning. Once again, a little bit cool to start off the day. This is typical. It's normal. We're often at our coolest point just after or just before sunrise. And then in the afternoon, we're back in the 20s. So 21 is what we're forecasting for Toronto. If we get a little more cloud, that could hinder the warm up a little bit. So that's something we'll be watching. But the next 3 days, if you're a golfer, you want to hit the links, this is a good looking forecast. Saturday, it's going to be hot though, and not just Saturday, but Sunday too. Early next week, we slowly cool down by about the middle of the week, and some wet weather is possible Monday and Tuesday. Michelle and Nathan.
Thanks, Lindsay. That is it for us, but be sure to join Omar Sechedina tonight at 11 for CTV National News, followed by Zoraida Almu with your next local newscast at 11:30.
In the meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and all of us here at CTV News, thanks for watching and have a great night.